Welcome wonderful viewers, I am the audiophile barista, and earlier this week I posted a video with a question for you guys asking you if you have a preamp and a power amp both with volume controls, where would you change the volume? Now first I have to apologize. A lot of you have given some comments and I'm very happy with that, but some of you were asking me why not get rid of the preamp altogether, because you already have an integrated amplifier. And that's when I realized that I had forgotten to tell you what this thing actually is, because it does have a volume control, but it only, if we go to the back, it only has one input. You have your loudspeaker connectors and your power on off, and that's it. So it has only one input, but of course it also has a volume control. But if we look at the manual, which is right over here, as you can see, this is sold as a power amplifier. By the way, this amp is from Audion. It is the Silver Night edition, limited edition, 20th anniversary, meaning this is completely hand built and hardwired inside, and it is 2 times 7 watts of 300B goodiness single-ended. So because it only has one input, I am using a preamp. Now the previous owner only used the blue sound, a separate DA converter, and that was it. But I have much more sources that I want to use, so that is another reason why I have a preamp. So as I said before, when I went onto the internet to find an answer, I got all kind of conflicting messages. One saying change it on the preamp, one saying change it on the power amp. There was also someone who said, so this is not in your comments, but what I found on the internet, who said if you have multiple volume controls in your system, use the one that is the furthest upstream of the whole chain. So that would be the power amplifier, because all the other volume controls are in front of that. So the last one before you come to your loudspeaker. Now looking at your comments, most of you guys are leaning towards changing the volume on the preamp and having the power amp at a fixed volume. One comment even gave some technical explanation as to why that would be, and he said when you change it over here and have a fixed volume on the preamp, the thing is not only are you changing the volume, you are also changing the impedance between these two, and it will be changing all the way when you change the volume on the power amp. So that is a good reason to have it done on the power amp. So that would conclude having it fixed on the power amp and variable on the preamp. So that would leave only one question: where to fix it? So most of the comments said just open it up all the way, that's where you put it, and then you change on the focus on the preamp. But there was another one which was very interesting. This was someone who had 2 Macintosh mono power amplifiers, both with a volume knob, and he said he went onto a forum where there was also a Macintosh representative, and he said have the volume knob, if this is 12 o'clock, have it at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, something like that, which will give you some range for the preamp to work at its best. Because if I turn the volume knob on the power amp completely open, it leaves me less room. It means the range that I can use on the preamp is smaller. So when so it's difficult to see the indicator, which is over here. If I have it all the way open on the power amp, the range I can use it somewhere over here. If I have it at the 1 or 2 o'clock, I have a broader range that I can use the preamp. And this one is, you know, when it's half open or at 11 o'clock, what I read a lot of times is that is the best way for this thing to operate. So that leaves me with two choices. Having it full on open, like this, or have it at the 1 or 2 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock position. And the last thing I want to say about this is that some people suggested that what you do is you listen on the loudspeaker and open it up, and then when it starts to make more noise, that's where the sweet spot is. Just before that is the sweet spot on the power amp, and from there you just change your volume on the preamp, which is also a very good way to do it. Now in the case of this amplifier, this thing is actually pretty quiet, so the amount of noise that I'm hearing through my loudspeakers is more or less the same when it is full on open or when it is over here. So I can put it all the way open, which, and that is the last thing that some of the commenters said, and which is also credible, of course. So over here, for example, we have a quad 99 power amplifier, and that is a power amplifier, and like most power amplifiers, it does not have a volume knob, meaning it is actually all the way open, like when you put it on full open on this thing. It should be the same as any regular power amp, so that is another reason to open it fully. But here's my final advice. My opinion is to have it full on open, at least fixed on the power amp, and regulate on the preamp, and that's also what a preamp is made to do. So like many questions, the questions may have looked simple, but the answer is not that simple. So I hope this might help you. I want to thank everybody who gave a comment, and I will see you in the next one.